If you know me at all, then it comes as no surprise to you that I often refer to DJ as my more child. She fits the description of a highly sensitive child to a T, but mostly in the sense that she's just more of everything. More emotionally intense, more demanding, more persistent, more fussy, more sensitive to taste, touch, smell. She's more attuned to anything and everything, really. And Zach and I have learned a great deal about her special temperament, and I truly mean it when I say special. This little girl has taught us more about parenting than I could have ever anticipated when I first laid my eyes upon her face. DJ has jerked us right out of our comfort zone and launched us into a fast track of ever learning, growing, and evolving as parents. She's never let us stay comfortable for long, and she's never let us get overly confident. She's kept us humble by putting us in the position of having to ask for help. How do we parent this? What do we do with that? How are we supposed to handle it when? Are we even doing this right? Any of it? Are we getting any of this parenting thing right? One of my cousins has often said, you have a difficult little person, and she's been right. DJ has not always been easy. In fact, she's been flat out hard at times, a lot of times. She has erratic emotions and intense reactions. Her feelings are easily hurt. She's stubborn and fiercely committed to her own ideas. She's mostly opposed to change, or even suggestions, really. She's mastered the extreme tantrum and hasn't ever backed down from her heartfelt convictions. I've been exhausted, overwhelmed, and even embarrassed by it all too many times to count. I've also felt ashamed to admit any of those things. The other day, I confided in a friend of mine that DJ is also my harder child, not just my more child. By that, I meant that she's harder to discipline, harder to reason with, harder to convince or compromise with. She's harder to calm down, harder to please. And after I said those words, I realized that in my heart of hearts, that I sometimes, inaccurately and very, very foolishly, allow all of those harder things to trick me into thinking that she's also harder to love. And I actually just got a large, nauseating pit in my stomach after saying that out loud. Harder to love? A notion that couldn't be farther from the truth, and yet sometimes, through my weariness, I actually believe for a nanosecond that it's true. And then I have a day like today, a day where I'm reminded 1,000 times in small gifts that DJ is harder in all of the right ways, too. We spontaneously stopped along the side of a road so she could say hello to a horse. I watched her connect so deeply with this majestic creature that for a moment I forgot that this 1,000-pound animal was not our own. The two were at such ease with one another, as if they had been long-lost friends. They spoke a silent language while their souls connected. It was a privilege to witness. It made my heart burst and my eyes well. I had so much pride in DJ as I watched her courage and tenderness blend into one giant act of benevolence toward this animal in those moments. Hours after our exchange with that horse, when we were back at home, DJ insisted that we sit the dining room table at 2 p.m. so that Daddy would be welcomed home from work in a really special way. And so we did. I let her lead the charge as she suggested a tablecloth, our finest crystal drinking glasses, a complete set of silverware, and candles. She even decorated each of our chairs with a beautiful silk ribbon and a fresh picked flower from our yard. It is from these generous acts of inherent love and compassion that I'm most gifted by the experience of DJ's harder nature. You see, she just loves harder, and she gives harder, and she shows appreciation harder. She expresses gratitude harder, sees the beauty harder. She even forgives harder. She uses her creativity, her kindness, her gentleness harder than anyone I've ever known. DJ throws herself so completely into everything that she does that she makes magic wherever she goes, leaving a string of cherished memories sparkling behind her. She does all of the little things that truly matter, the things that warm hearts and grow souls and heal spirits, harder. And in those ways, yes, DJ is my harder child. But harder to love? Not a chance, really. In fact, she's the very essence of love. The ups, the downs, The highs, the lows, the permission to break down in the arms of safety, the vulnerability of exposing oneself fully without shame or regret, the strength from weakness, that beauty from ashes. This girl, she keeps me grounded and connected to the lovely things of this world. She always keeps me upward focused, as I must rely on God's wisdom to help me parent her in all the ways she needs for me to show up for her, the ways that I fall so short in fully understanding her. She reminds me of God's mercy, his grace, and the simplicity of his unfailing love. She is my greatest teacher, making the hardest of life's lessons infinitely easier to understand by the ways that she so effortlessly lives them out with pure honesty and a raw knowing. Day by day, I can see that she's outgrowing some of her sensitivities. And while I feel so relieved to not be cutting the tags out of each of her dresses or not to be pulling off the side of the road to help her when her sock bunches up in her shoe, I do feel a sense of anxiety about where that growing might stop. I pray that it falls short of changing who she is at the core of her very mighty being. I pray that she never outgrows the gentleness in her spirit, nor her ability to make others feel acknowledged and revered just for being themselves. I hope that she never outgrows her convictions, her certainty, her will. Those things I have to believe are just a part of her nature, aspects of her sensitivity that are ingrained in her very DNA. DJ, my more child, my harder child, such a blessing to be deemed those things. Those very things that draw me to love her more every day. Those things that drive me to work harder at becoming the very best mom that I can be. Thank you.